Got rock and roll, okay. All right, so here's one of my old racers projects. This car looks pretty rough because it's been sitting outside. Kind of like that. It looks a little beat down. It looks more real. This is, again, it's one of mine. It's an old racer. What this car is a Model T that has had some hot rod parts bolted onto it. So it's got homemade hot rod exhaust. It's got a more modern ignition system than a Model T had, with a distributor and a hot coil. It's got an aluminum high compression head. It's got a homemade intake, and it runs a Model A carburetor. So what you can imagine in late 1930s, 1940s, which is what this would sort of have been built in, as a go job, not necessarily a hot rod, but a go job. You take pieces from more modern cars and you put them on older cars to soup them up. So this car has a Model A carburetor. The Model T carburetor the Model T came before the second generation Model A. So the Model A carburetor being more modern, you make an intake, you put a Model A carburetor on it. As time progresses, and in different builds, you'll see where they'll take a later sedan, say a 34 sedan, which would be a V8, big frame sedan, but it's a sedan, it's a four-door, it's a boring mom's car. You take the body off of that and you put on an earlier body, because they're cheap and you can get them in a junkyard. You put on a Model T body, and bingo, now you've got a sports car. That's really what the early hot rod scene was about. It was being innovative and making something new and sporty out of kind of what you had kicking around, and that's where Sir TJ and I find the joy in these projects, is that you're able to, through your own innovation and your own skill, scrounge up the pieces and make yourself something that's really great out of junk. It's old junk now, so it's not as easy as it was, say, in 1942, but we're still doing the same thing. We're taking used old pieces of shit, fluffing them up, and bolting them together in the right order and making something that performs. And then as far as can we keep doing this forever? Yeah, we can, because this is one style of build. And then the next thing, if you had a little more money, like I said, you'd rebody a car. And then the next thing, if you had a little bit more money, and you were building a racer, you'd build a factory race chassis. You'd build a chassis that was never a streetcar chassis. The chassis was purpose-built for racing. And then that evolves into purpose-built race engines. You have a race engine like an Offenhauser or a Miller race engine that was specifically built just for race cars. So there's all different levels, and this would be sort of your fairgrounds racer, your cheapest entry-level kind of backyard race car, all the way up to, they had Indianapolis cars in the 20s. So that range, we can operate within that. We can build cars as simple as this or as complex as an Indy racer, and it's really what time and budget allows.